Hello everyone, today I'm going to be teaching you how to have this slide now. Identify the past tense of verb forms, or like the simple past. And also I will talk about explain the nud and tud verb forms. They're the kind of the past participle of Estonian, if you know what that is. And also explain the present perfect and past perfect, how to express or create these forms or how to use them in Estonian. So when I made the slides, I thought that it would be a good idea to have different verbs here, not the same verb. So let's first go over all the verbs I used. Lugema is to read, avama is to open, ütlema is to say, minema is to go, teadma is to know, tulema is to come. So the ones on the left, ma loen, sa avad, ta ütleb, me lähme, te teate, nad tulevad. These are all in the present, and I also added the pronoun in the short form. So ma is mina, sa is sina, ta is tema, me is meie, te is teie, nad is nemad. And I also made the suffix purple. So mina has the n at the end, sina has the d at the end, etc. So now let's look at the past versions of these phrases. Ma lugesin, sa avasid, ta ütles, me läksime, te teadsite, nad tulid. So as you can see, I have colored the E orange, and like the one way you can understand, like you can tell whether it's the past tense or not, is that usually there's the E sound, except for the third person singular, that's just S. Ütles, kõndis, teadis, läks, istus, for example. And the endings are also a bit different. So for the first person, it's lugesin. So yes, there's the E in at the end, but I would say that I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure the ending for the past first person is sin, and for the second person is sid. The third one doesn't have a marker per se. And then for the following is like ime, ite, and I'm assuming it. As you can see, I have highlighted some words. As you can see, the second person singular and the third person plural. These are the same forms, which is something I discovered while making the slides, to be honest, but they're the same form. So let's also look at the to be on the right here, very right. Ma olin, sa olid, ta oli, me olime, te olite, nad olid. You're going to need this when we talk about the past perfect. So yeah, just in case, I'm going to also say the present forms. Ma olen, sa oled, ta on, me oleme, te olete, nad on. So as you can see, the past, or as you can hear, the past forms has the E sound. Except you have to know that some verbs in Estonian already have this E sound at the end. For example, soovima. It has E before ma. So present is ma soovin, and the past would be ma soovisin. So the sin once again. So if you see sin or sid somewhere at the end of the word, then you can probably guess that it's past tense. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the participle of nud, tud, kesksõna. So they're basically just to explain the past participle in English, in case you don't know. For those of you who have learned or needed to memorize the 3 verb forms of the irregular verbs, for example, then the past participle is the third one. So think, thought, thought. Thought is the third thought, or second thought, I guess. Third word is the past participle. Or for example, cut, cut, cut. Cut is the past participle. So basically in Estonian we have the same thing, except we have nud at the end. So teadnud, teinud, öelnud, söönud. So known, done, said, and eaten. One thing you have to know is that in Estonian there's a difference between whether we know who did it and whether we don't know who did it, or we don't care, or we don't want to say. So, for example, this example.
Seega kõik on hästi?
Ei, nii ma just ei öelnud.
Then it's mina ei öelnud. I didn't say that. There's also the tuud, which may not be tuud with a strong t sound. It might also be d. So teatud, tehtud, öeldud, söödud. So yeah, sometimes it depends on the preceding sound, but it might be d. So yeah, we use this form when we don't know or don't care who, and it's also used as an adjective. So tehtud töö. So if I were to translate the meaning, then it would be work that is done, öeldussõnad, words that have been spoken and words that have been uttered. And teatud inimesed is people who are known, but we basically say that instead of certain people, And they both imply the past, because we also have present equivalents for these words, but I won't talk about them because it would be too confusing. I hope it's not too confusing at the moment, but you will see why you need to know this. And it's for creating the present perfect, and I'm pretty sure I'm taking the risk and saying that it's basically this Estonian täisminevik is basically the same thing as the English present perfect. Someone might disagree, that's okay, but at this point I think it serves me to explain it through the present perfect of English. So if you don't know what present perfect is, in English you form it with have or has, depending on the subject, and then the past participle. And you use the present perfect when something happened in the past and it still has an effect on the now, or the present moment. For example, I have never met this man in my life implies that you have this that it's still an ongoing effect and that it might change, but at this moment I have never met this man in my life. I might meet him though. Right? So the Estonian translation, ma ei ole kunagi seda meest kohanud. So the way you form the Estonian version of this present perfect is very similar. You take not have or has, but you take to be, and you need to have it in present tense. So ma olen, sa oled, ta on, me oleme, te olete, nemad on. And then you add the nüüd or tuud version, or form, the verb. So ma ei ole, and ei ole is negative, so ei ole is the same for everyone. Mina ei ole, ma ei ole kunagi, never, seda meest kohanud. Kohtama is to see or to meet by chance. And also one more thing is that Estonian has double negative. Kunagi means never, and so ei ole is never have. I don't have never seen this man, kind of. Is that what it means? So that's just something useful to know. It sounds more natural to have double negative than to have single negative, or whatever it's called in English. And now moving on to the past perfect, enneminevik. And if you don't know what it is, brief or not so brief explanation is that the same thing as before, something happened in the past, and with present perfect, it used to be relevant up until the present moment, but with past perfect, the action that ended or the event that ended that influence was in the past. So I had read the book before I watched the movie. You wouldn't say I have read the book before I watched the movie, that's just wrong. So it's had plus past participle, so read, read. I had read the book before I watched the movie. In Estonia, it's exactly the same thing. You take olema in past tense. So olin, olid, oli, olime, olite, olid. or ei olnud. And then add the nüüd. I didn't talk about the ei olnud because the way you form the past, like the negative of the past, is by using this nüüd, but I won't talk about that anymore because it would be too confusing. So ma olin raamatut lugenud enne kui ma filmi vaatasin. Olin is the past tense, lugenud is the nüüd form, and enne kui ma filmi vaatasin, to watch, it's in the past tense, sin, ending. So yeah, let's move on. And analyze a very famous sentence. It's the opening sentence for the book Kevade by Oskar Lutz. Everyone knows this. Everyone over a certain age knows this. Maybe you don't know this if you're 2, but I'm pretty sure you know this once you go to school or something like that. And it reads, kui Arno isaga koolimajja jõudis, olid tunnid juba alanud. So if we were to identify, compare this sentence to the other sentences, then you would probably realize that it's the past perfect, this one. And the event in the past, which is kui Arno isaga koolimajja jõudis, is past simple. The event in the past is marked with past simple in English as well. I watched the movie. Arno jõudis koolimajja. And then you have the other part of the sentence. Olid tunnid juba alanud. Olid alanud. As you can see, we can insert words in between because Estonian is a synthetic language, so the word order is not that important. Olid alanud, had begun. Tunnid is lessons. Tund, lesson, or like hour. Üks tund is like 1 hour. Koolitund is like school lesson. Here it means school lesson, but in plural. So yeah, let's move on. Otherwise, I'm going to just ramble. Kui Arno isaga koolimajja jõudis, olid tunnid juba alanud. So literal translation, when Arno with dad into school building arrived, were lessons already begun. And that's it for now. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please comment. This is actually my second time recording this video. And the previous recording was 30 minutes long. I'm pretty sure this wasn't 30 minutes. And I might have not said something important because I had a feeling that I had already said it at one point, which I did. So please do let me know if you have any questions. I will gladly explain it. But I hope it was useful to some extent. Okay, that's it. Bye bye!